Hello and welcome to this very special edition of the Money Show, where we are decoding the interim budget, where we saw a lot of positives, largely in line interim budget. But then let's decode this budget from a taxpayer's point of view, where if they haven't got anything, nothing has gone out of their hands as well. Market participants and financial portfolio, what are the tweaking? What is the tweaking that you need to do as far as your portfolio is concerned? Let's understand this budget from market investors' point of view, a taxpayer point of view, from a voter's point of view, and also economy point of view. Also, I have with me Mr. DP Singh of SBI Mutual Fund and Feroze Azeez of Anand Rathi Wealth. Hello and good evening and welcome both of you on the show today. Let me just know what's going on your mind, and let me just understand what's your analysis of the budget. Out of 10, DP sir, how much mark would you like to give and why?
No, I would like to give 10 out of 10 because of the very, very good fiscal discipline which has been shown by the government. Right. This looks like a budget of a very, very good corporate rather than that of government. We are in a habit of looking at the deficit number being outpassed by whatever has been the inflation going up above the expected numbers given in the budget. So this time every parameter has been efficient. And everywhere we have done well. So look at the inflation number again, 5.9, they have given 5.8. Next year it is done. The borrowing has been less than expected. The growth number are aligned. And the future, whatever the numbers they are giving, they are not showing any out of the box increase in the tax collection. They are giving just 11% collection. So that gives me a hint that there are pleasant surprises in store in the normal budget for the taxpayers because of the good compliance, good tax compliance. So all these put together and giving too much impetus on the energy and other priority sectors, that gives a lot of this thing. And another main statement which government has given, when we will not give fish to the people, but will make them fish. I mean, मुफ्त में बिजली नहीं देनी है, पर बिजली मुफ्त में बना के देनी है उनको. They are giving that statement that everybody should have produce the power in an economic manner rather than getting free power, which involves a lot of other costs involved. So all those are very, very positive things.
Your take on this, are you also on the same lines with DP sir? No news is good news, at least from a taxpayer's point of view.
Yes, Kavita, I would completely concur with DP sir for the fact that this is a 10 on 10 budget. Given the fact that it was a vote on account kind of a interim budget, the simplicity has been maintained. It has been a theme of under-commit, over-deliver, which I think is brilliant, at least on the economic variables like fiscal deficit, which DP sir touched upon. You're looking at 5.9 coming down to 5.8. This is not a norm in India. It has not been a norm in India, but you see that kind of a trend over the last few years. You look at the tax collection projections. Last year, there was a growth of 15%. This time, they've just spoken of 12% growth in spite of having penetrated 77% on the revenue target. Still, there's a sense of an undercommitment. You look at the borrowing, which was 15.4 lakh crores, down to 14.1 lakh for the next financial year, which has definitely improved the yield curve from a flattish yield curve. It's just become a downward sloping yield curve, which I think strengthens our position in the global space, which we are today known as one of the largest economies, which is not facing inflation and the resultant interest. So that has got solidified. The cascading effect on equity being revalued. So the value you see of 3,000 points on Nifty from October till now gets solidified because of a lower interest rate. And if you get included in the bond indices globally, you're looking at 6.4, 6.5 on the 10-year GSEC in the next few months, which definitely brings in momentum on both equity and the debt side. So I think this is the best outcome you could look at, and the kind of simplicity definitely creates confidence in the FIIs, who have been pumping in money even in the small cap and the mid cap space. So portfolios get protected on the equity side is the key crux. Especially after a rally like that, I would be a little worried if some mistake you do has a larger impact. But great, no mistakes. That means solid equity markets, at least a buoyant equity markets, if not a rallying ones.
DP sir, do you think income tax now is the biggest income generator for the government? Because as we look at the budget document and what the document also suggests, income tax revenue will account for 19% for all government revenues in resources in FY25, and corporate tax will account for 17%, GST for 18%, and borrowings for 28%. Do you think this is going to be a major chunk for the government now?
Yeah, definitely this tax is going to be major chunk, but the government is definitely needs a lot of tax compliance for the welfare schemes. But what they're trying to do is to create an ecosystem where employment generation and all those things are done in the private space. The statement which government gave when they came into power, that government has no business to be in business, is being factified now. Whatever was being talked about is being walked now. So those are the things which are there. But this, but I am very hopeful that the kind of growth numbers they have taken in the tax, in the income tax side of 12% is definitely because this will be a net number, right? So gross wise, there is going to be definitely good surprises for all of us. But of course, for the revenue purposes, they have to look at the tax compliances, and this is good enough for whatever they're doing, because subsidy budgets are coming down drastically. What they're doing on the fertilizer side, on the nanotechnology, if that happens, well, a good chunk of money will be saved. So which is likely to happen very soon. So there are so many steps in which it's not only the revenue, but the whole ecosystem on welfare, on employment generation is being passed to the private sector by creating an ecosystem, very good ecosystem. That's the crux.
That's exactly right. And also, to sum up what PM Modi also said in his speech after the budget, Feroze, that this is Vishwas ka budget. This is one innovative budget where the 4 strong pillars would be youth, women, farmers, and Garib. That is what he also highlighted. Vikas ka budget. Vikas ki guarantee is what is our campaign also called, and Vishwas ki
would say. If that's the assumption, then if you look at the read between the lines, one thing which has been consistent is simplicity. The simplicity is something which nobody can deny, and this was a great evidence of that. If simplicity is the theme, then of course taxation simplification will be the continuance, and the one thing which we have been anticipating and predicting should happen sooner than later in terms of the capital gain simplification of the 3-4 dimensions, bringing it down to 1 or 2 dimensions from the 4 dimensions which we have. Domicile, people residing in India have different taxation, different assets have different taxation, different periods have different taxation, different STT status has different taxation. This will, in my opinion, with a large probability change. Then coming to Vishwas ka budget, I personally think Pragati ka budget is definitely on the cards, because if you look at the kind of budgetary allocation for home affairs is about 2 lakh crores, for rural development is about 1.77 lakh crores, for agriculture, which is 24% of our GDP, is 1.27 lakh crores. Defense, this is the first time we have had defense exports, exports of almost about 30,000 crores. So point I'm trying to make is, with this kind of all variables looking very bright, I would think that this is certainly a Vikas ka budget. And when you're looking at home as 2 crore homes to be built, when interest rates come down, it's a double benefit for the consumer, especially the lower strata of India, slum dwellers or the people who live on rent. If the interest rates are lower, they will be able to borrow and absorb this supply which the government wishes to bring in the next few years.
This budget more, but then the viewers are also interested in what would be the fund house strategy, DP sir, and what will be the fund house interested in after listening to this budget, although we have elections and we have the full budget also going on. But then what is your house view? I mean, you've explained a lot of it through your answers right now, but then in terms of specific sectors, are you looking at anything specific post the announcement?
Yeah. See, one thing is there, as Mr. Feroze has rightly said earlier, that it is going to be very buoyant equity market. So when we look at the flows, then people will get more confidence now with the budget that everything is in great shape, and they will be full of confidence. As you are talking about Pradhan Mantri saying Vishwas ka budget, so Vishwas is a different level. Vishwas even in the minds of individuals also has to be transmitted, and when they have Vishwas, they put in more money. So one sector which we really feel is going to get benefited is the energy sector. Energy, when we talk about renewable energy, we talk about traditional power areas, much there. Then in India, we have very low per capita energy consumption. And energy is the base for the overall growth of the country. So this is what we are looking at this budget. So as far as we are concerned in fund house, and you may call it the right timing or something. Incidentally, we had planned for launch of an energy fund in the fund house, which in any case is coinciding with the overall ecosystem of the country. But I'm not here to talk about any particular fund of mine. But what I'm trying to say is the overall infrastructure, the overall growth economy, overall the whatever the basics which are required for the growth of business is being pushed in a big way, and that itself is a theme for making money, because there are a good number of listed companies in these areas. All these companies will get benefited, but overall, looking at the positivity in the environment, the overall equity market will do well, and I am sure that now people who are sitting on the sidelines, they will find that part of the allocation need to go now, because things are looking very good.
Feroze, time for tactical position in any specific sector. What's your take on this?
Kavita, is that question for me?
Yes, Feroze. Tactical allocation, any of the sectors, do you think that should be a call for your portfolio right now?
Yes, Kavita, we can do that. But from a mutual fund investor standpoint, what happens is, if you look at Nifty, there are some sectors which are anyways overexposed. Like 32-33% of Nifty is BFSI. The second largest sector is IT. The third largest is auto, and fourth is consumer staples and consumer defensives. So what happens is, whenever an investor looks at sectors as or an extra sector fund, he or she needs to be very conscious whether the diversified category itself has a large exposure in them. But having said which, I think themes are good. See, if you're looking at housing as a theme, then there is cement, there is steel, there is building material, infrastructure. These are the themes which get encompassed in an infrastructure fund beautifully. So I think a sector fund like a healthcare, IT, and banking should not be taken, because they are anyways a reasonable part of one's portfolio in the form of diversified equity funds. So infrastructure surely, and if I have to be more specific, in the best infrastructure fund I would vote for would be an SBI infrastructure fund. Not because DPC sir is here, but I would definitely concur. That's one of the best fund houses. From being the largest fund house, I would not want to take sectoral or thematic exposures with a tiny fund house, but the largest one, because of the depth of analysis and the analyst and the fund manager, the experience they have. So if you're taking a little higher risk, go to the top guys, and SBI is the top one. And I think SBI infrastructure could be a fund if you wish to really play that theme.
Right. I think adding on to it, it's very important to also have a travel fund, because now I want to know the bucket list from both of you, and especially DP sir. Next travel destination would be Lakshadweep or Ayodhya? I think you're on mute, sir. DP sir, on mute.
First of all, my apologies. I'm now crossing through the ceiling and I can't stop. So there will be
Not a
some
problem.
disturbance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I think it's pan India. It's neither Lakshadweep nor Ayodhya, but it's India is the theme.
Right.
I think we need to. I personally feel very accountable for this thing, that we are responsible. We are accountable for taking this beautiful economy to each and every nook and corner of the country, so that people, every individual, every Indian can participate in this. We are in a very sweet spot. We have a best of the governance at the central level, at the all India level, and the benefits of this growth, rather than going to the foreigners, should go to every citizen of the country. And we are responsible as a largest fund house to take it to every nook and corner. We being responsible for all these things, and along with our fellow beings, people like Feroze, we are trying to reach out to every corner of the country.
All right, so Feroze, DPs have decided that he wants to go everywhere in India, and in Lakshadweep, Ayodhya, no, India is a theme for him. What's on your bucket list now?
Of course, Ayodhya is on my bucket list. Of course, Mr. Rathi was fortunate to be there on the opening day, and we are reasonably envious of him. So we're waiting for our turns. Having said which, of course, I think Indian tourism is going to get some fillip, especially because of the TCS on global tours, which I think is logical enough. I think the way the government has thought about to make sure that the people who are honest taxpayers get benefited, and the ones who are actually evading tax get caught in the tax net. I think both are being done beautifully. If you look at when Minister Sahiba said 93 days of tax refund has come down to an average of 10 days, that's no mean task achieved. That's like simplification. I think in a taxpayer's biggest benefit is not to give you a 3, 4, 5,000 rupees SOP every budget. It is about making your life simple. A pre-filled tax file is such a boon. So I think that's on one side. The TCS collections have not been changed on the tour package. Of course, they've been fair, saying that up to 7 lakhs. Now, even if you bought yourself a tour package, you don't have a TCS and a refund to claim. I think that limit was missing. Now that limit has come this time around.
DP sir, let's also talk about women empowerment. You know, through a lot of ways, the government has also tried getting women not only in the financial circuit but also on the path of financial freedom. This will have in the next budget also, like a full-fledged budget with a full-fledged focus on women entrepreneurs. Also because they are great voters for them so far.
See, Kavita, one thing is very much there, that now gone are the days when you have to grow in some particular area, you have to give tax, you have to give some tax benefits. You have to create an ecosystem of the country. Women empowerment is an ongoing journey. Especially this government and the finance minister is always talks about women empowerment, and this has happened in a big way. And honestly speaking, when I look at my own company, I mean, today my HR person was there, and they recruited around 100 people, out of which 63 were the women employees. So the point is that today it should not be the part of any budget. This is the directional move which is happening in the country. I mean, if there is some tax benefit or some tax SOPs, that will be icing on the cake. But otherwise, the overall ecosystem has come in such a manner that there is going to be gender equality. And 3-4 years down the line, I think we should not be talking about this, that we have to empower, because that would have already happened. So my point on this is that whatever government will come out, they will definitely give some benefits to the women and entrepreneurs, and this is already happening. This is work in progress, and this is showing result also. But we have to keep it continuing with the same thing for a little longer period, not for 1 year or 2 years. For me, this is a long-term game which we will continue for all the time.
That's going to be everyone's effort. But Feroze, I also would like you to decode the youth spending that the finance minister also focused on, and having nil interest also on that particular spending. If you have the finance bill on you, and if you've gone through it, the document, what exactly is mentioned and what kind of benefit are we talking about?
Sorry, Kavita, I couldn't hear your question though.
Sure, I will repeat that for you. So I'm talking about the youth spending that the government wants to accelerate to, and is also offering interest-free loan to a particular section of youth spending. What exactly are we talking about over here?
See, when it comes to youth spending, I think the interest-free loan on the innovation side, the startup side, the innovation side, I think is the first time we ever broke into the top 50 countries from an innovation standpoint. I think youth is largely about trying to propel a startup culture. Of course, the sunset date also has been extended from March 2024 to March 2025 in terms of the tax benefits ahead after about 10-15 years. If the decade has to be ours, we don't have to do too much on innovation. But if you have to make the century India's, then innovation becomes a key pillar on the basis of which progress could be made.
All right. Last bit of the discussion, and I will wrap it up with this one question, which actually two questions. DP sir, as a voter, how would you look at this budget? And as an investor, what are some steps, if at all, you want to be taking now, looking at the aspect of continuity of this government?
See, I'll take the second question first. तो उसका तो जवाब यही होगा, बने रहो, डटे रहो, घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है. So whatever surplus you have, you keep on investing in the growth of the country. And what was your first question? Sorry, I couldn't understand.
As a voter, how impressed are you with this budget?
No, I initially only my first response was 10 out of. So there's no question of now to going back. So it's but I'm very happy about the fiscal discipline which is being created, and it looks like as a some corporate statement rather than a country statement. That's what I will say.
Feroze, the same question to you with a slight tweaking. I also want you to give our viewers some portfolio tips, like maybe top 3, and your expectation as a voter and obviously as a market investor, portfolio tips.
Sure. First, let me tell you that I would say that this budget is a phenomenal budget. So I'm very, very excited and happy because it's not not spoken anything more than what was needed. That I think is brilliant. Then coming to from an investor standpoint, this budget surely helps me submit to all the audience saying that we in studio rooms speak of 60% equity, 70% equity, and 30% debt, and probably no real estate beyond consumption. But if you look at India's allocation out of the 740 lakh crore, the equity allocation is sub 10%. Equity mutual funds is just about 3 to 4%. One is what we assume that will be followed by people, and what actually as an aggregate we as Indians have. Now that needs a dramatic change. If that needs to happen, we have to all introspect and see, if I don't come to 40-50% equity today, then what are we waiting for? Then if this is not a great recipe for a 40-50% in equity markets, then what is? So I think that's where the larger question lies for each of our portfolios. If you're not 40-50% in equity, you're surely not in the best of the strategies. Of course, there's going to be markets going up and down. Markets, that's the nature of the beast. It does 15% correction every single year from peak to trough. That's why it gives you 4 times more than an FD or 3 times more than an FD, probably. Of course, not always. But I think, so you deserve that money, extra return over a fixed deposit because of weathering that volatility of at least having 50% of your money in financial assets, especially equity.
All right, I think with that, it's a wrap on the show. So it's Vishwas ki guarantee and Vikas ki guarantee from the interim budget today. Thank you so much, both of you, for being on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.